Hey, welcome to the Overture Pamphlet. My name is Rob, and I am the host of this one-man show coming to you every Monday, well, technically every Monday, 6 a.m. UK time. And today the episode is coming out on a Wednesday, so that's that. Just been very busy, honestly, but hey, I am, doing with that what I can, like I managed to have some time now, and I am recording the day before, so today's a Tuesday for me actually, but it's coming out tomorrow morning, so catch it tomorrow if you can. But this is for this week, and to be quite frank, I had hard time picking what to talk about specifically, because at the same time, like I feel like a lot has happened, but also not as much. I mean, as you can tell from the title, I'm gonna be talking about several different things. But I feel like none of them really warranted like a full episode on them. So I'm just like gonna spitball about several things that happened. So I'm gonna be going over, the new Pope, Leo, or Robert. Guess we'll see how that goes. But fellow Robert, we'll see how. I'll share my thoughts, I guess, on his can we call it election? I guess so. Like what I think is gonna happen. I guess, like in general, like what kind of pope can we expect, I guess, from him, and what does that mean in general for like the broader, culture and everything. And then I want to talk about, like, briefly just touch upon like the two new projects that dropped on last Friday, the new albums by PinkPantheress and by Kali Uchis. So we'll be going into all of that, and also just I think it will be mostly about music, I guess, because like I also have so many songs that I've like, because of the two albums as well, of course, but also in general a lot of music has dropped. I think I'm gonna like be talking about a lot about songs as well. So this is a mix of everything basically. So let's just get into it. First of all, songs of the week. Of course. Actually, you know what? Let me switch it up. I'm gonna do this. Since like the only major topic that I'm gonna talk about is the Pope, and then the rest of it is gonna be music. I'm gonna like do this instead. I'm gonna talk first about the Pope and my, 2 cents on the situation, and then move on to the music, which is the main girl. So what's up with that? Pope Francis died, unfortunately, like, when was it? Beginning of the month. And basically we all had to, like, face, I guess, this whole, like, situation happening, because I mean, at the end of the day, apart from whether you're like are Christian or like Catholic specifically or not, I mean, I'm personally not, so it doesn't really affect me on a religious level personally, but I think it is still, like, on the broader picture, like, I guess, like, a major event, that doesn't have to simply do with politics, not simply to do with religion, but also with politics. And you can argue that religion and politics are actually two sides of the same coin. I mean, it's still about, controlling people, governing people, dictating rules and all that stuff. So there's a lot at play there. But also I feel like, since the Catholic religion is so powerful, undoubtedly, I guess, and so widespread, whoever becomes the head of the church immediately becomes one of the most powerful people on the planet. So and the influence, I guess, is basically unparalleled. Like, I think you can definitely, I guess, compare it to other major politicians and world leaders. So that's very important. But anyways, so the conclave the conclave lasted basically for, I think, 2 days in total. I mean, that's how it goes. Like, people, I guess, like, the cardinals, like, all get together and vote multiple times per day, actually, and until they can find proper majority, I guess. This is also coming from the movie Conclave, which I really recommend. it's actually very very good, and it explains also what happens when Pope dies and the whole process of like how the conclave happens and who leads it and like what's in what happens inside of a conclave, and it's very very similar to like a political action. If you have to be honest, there's like factions and like propaganda and all that stuff, and like there's different sides, different ideologies, and different I guess variations on like um what the future for the church can be in that sense. Like it's not simply like it's Catholic, but is it going to be more conservative? Is it going to be more like liberal, more you know open to different people who have been previously rejected from like Orthodox Catholic places and everything. So so there's a lot of power play in that sense, and there's a lot of there's a lot to do there. There's a lot to like mine about, and so I can only imagine. I mean, it is a it's a process that happens behind closed doors, because basically it is a private election sort of, but yeah. So one can only imagine what happens behind closed doors, and like what's the different, what are the different sides of the debate and everything. So, I mean, according to the internet, there were two like main proponents, but none of them made it. One of them was the Italian cardinal. I can't remember his name honestly, and then it was Tagle, I think, from the Philippines, and of course, the internet was very much rooting for the Filipino candidate. I guess we could call it, yeah, cardinal. But in the end, surprisingly, we had a Chicago-born American, I guess, cardinal making it, and his name is Robert Prevost, who has, I think, Peruvian origins. I'm not entirely sure, but he is been he chose as the new vestures and everything happened. He called himself Leo the 16th, I think, Leo the 14th. Sorry, and basically he had the entire speech in front of the city of Rome, and it was of course broadcasted to the entire world, so everyone was sort of tuning in and seeing what's going to happen, and that dominated, of course, the news cycle for days and days and days. And I think among the many subjects that came up, the biggest question was, why an American pope, and why is it fitting? Is it not fitting? Was this like planned? Was this not planned? Was this like a strategic move from the church, given the insane stuff that's happening in the US right now with Trump and everything? Was this like a good decision? Was it not? And I have to be honest, I feel like you have to also bear in mind that the church has to coexist and has to like make a statement about what the church can be for all believers in the whole globe. And I think with Francis, for example, Pope Francis, the previous one, he was very much needed in a time of very much advanced capitalism, and he was brought in by the church with a very important message, I guess, and it was the message of humility and charity, and of course showing an alternative lifestyle that doesn't have to be opulent, and a rejection of all these values that are usually intertwined with capitalism, I guess. And that was very much needed at the time, I guess. And he really showed a different side to what religion could be and what Catholicism could be for everyone in general. And he definitely definitely Francis differentiated himself from all previous examples that we've had of a pope. He was very, 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 very humble. He was an incredibly how to say, a very, I would say, a very humble and a very well-spoken person, and he made all the efforts he could in that sense to bring forward this message and embody it, I guess, as well. And he was definitely an inspiration for many people. But now things have changed, of course, and that's the only thing that I always think about with Pope election in that sense, is that it doesn't work like other elections in which you have a term, like you have 4 years, for example, or whatever. The Pope, once he's elected, he's gonna be Pope for the rest of his life, right? And so he also has to be like a figure that is able to change and, I guess, accommodate at different times, because Pope Francis started off with that, but then COVID happened, and then a bunch of different things happened, and it was Ukraine, and it was Israel, and all that stuff, and he navigated all these global changes very, very well, I have to be honest. But I think when he first was elected, the main objective for the church was to show an example of moral values that were still that needed to be protected, I guess, from capitalism and the money making schemes that we have in our noggins, I guess. Let's just call it that way. But I think so. On the same, I guess, at the same time, I think a new pope has been elected for a very different reason, I think, right now, and it's more like it's still in a retaliatory way. That's always how it goes. But really, you have to think about what values wants the church to bring forward and uphold in that sense. And I feel like here, as of now, it's not entirely clear. But in my mind, it's a very strategic move in terms of just exposing themselves with the U.S. right now. And so I feel like there's no one better than another American who can bring forward a different side of the U.S. and it can also have an open dialogue with U.S. politicians in general, and Trump, and of course. So this, I guess, is a first tactical move, I guess, to accommodate Trump. Not accommodate necessarily, but open a different dialogue with Trump. I think it's a very interesting way of approaching it. And so that's that is an interesting choice, I guess, 100%. I think some old stuff came out from his social media already with his disapproval against Trump's policies and everything else. So you can sort of tell already where he lands, I guess, when it comes to that. But I think it's good that we have someone who is from that country who can perhaps be more influential and be more not simply influential with Trump, but just in general with the Americans in at large, with the population. I think he definitely has more credibility in their faces. And I think I've already heard, I think I was at a party this weekend, and there was randomly a girl from Chicago as well, and she was saying that everyone in the city was, celebrating and was very hopeful about this this new pope. And you can see already that the influence is there, and the message has already been sent, I guess. But so there's been several tweets and posts that he made online already to sort of get yourself into what kind of mindset he's on. But on the other hand, I think I think some tweets also, well, not tweets, but I think some other news about him came up that he was pretty much anti-LGBT, and he was involved in some other charges. Well, not himself. I think what happened was that he didn't I think he was the one who he didn't bring a certain member of the church to how would you say, not to the law, because there's not in terms of that, but allegedly this other member of the church was practicing maybe was involved in sexual abuse or something, and he didn't speak about it or something, and people are jumping to conclusions saying that he condones it or whatever, which I don't think is the case 100%. I don't think that's the case. So yeah, that's very interesting though. The problem with not even the popes now are safe from a digital footprint background check. So yeah. But the only thing I hope, I guess, is that despite whatever you may think about the LGBT and other issues, is that he was, at least from what we know, chosen or at least was under the wing of Pope Francis, and I hope he can. Yeah, in these years he has learned a lot from him, and I'm sure Pope Francis, I didn't mind. Saw the potential in him in that sense. So we'll see what happens, of course, but yeah. So one can only hope. I guess we'll just have to wait and see how he speaks and addresses different issues that happened, and how he fires back at any, if at all, against any of the American issues, but also anything else in general. So yeah, here's to hoping that he's not a bitch. Please, we need someone who's like, at least someone who show us that there is possibility of like, change and like, goodness in this world. Because like I think most, at least in the politician side, most leaders are just fucking shit at the moment. It's just like there's no hope for the youth. And so we really need someone who can, be a light that guides us all. Please, God, help me. Anyways, let's not be silly. Let's let's get back to the serious business. As I was saying, 2 new albums dropped on Friday, and they're very different. They fall into two very different categories, I guess. Like they're very different types of albums, because one is like very upbeat and very summery and very. Well, I think they're both actually sorry. They're both very summery, I think, but in different ways. Like one is more low tempo, moody, softcore, and everything else. The other one is very much up tempo, partying, house, garage. And from what you've heard from the intro, I'm of course referring to the new albums by Kali Uchis and PinkPantheress. So they both dropped on Friday. We had, I think, only one single, or like maybe 2 singles from each albums. I mean, from Sincerity, I know that we got I Love You So Much It Hurts and Sunshine and Rain as well. But yeah, I think we might have had Stateside and what was it? Yeah, probably Stateside and Tonight were probably the 2 singles from PinkPantheress album. But anyways, let's start off with PinkPantheress album, Fancy That. First of all, I want to congratulate her for making another incredible cover art for this album. So cute and funny. I think, personally, I really liked the album overall. I do think that there's like a sort of sameness with all of her albums. So, like it's always the same genre in a way, but PinkPantheress is her, I guess, signature sound is the garage influence, the UK garage influence, because that's where she's from and that's where she grew, what she became famous for. But I do think there's also elements here that are noteworthy, that are also, I guess, pretty different from everything else that she's done before. And I can definitely tell there's like a much more, I guess, like housey influence on here. There's definitely more house elements. Like I wouldn't even consider this like a full album because it's only 9 tracks, so maybe it's more like an EP. Although it is listed as an album, but however, all the songs are very, very good, very, very well produced, and I think she has production credits on most of the tracks, or if not all of them. I think they're all produced by her, so that really shows you also the amount of skill that this girl has. She is incredible. She's also very well respected by her peers. I mean, you've probably seen her in many other other celebrities videos and like social media posts or anything, like Doja Cat, probably like what was it? I've seen her hanging out with Clairo. I've seen her hanging out with Charlie XCX. I've seen her hanging out with like many other people. So she is definitely like influential figure in music. Jack Harlow, I think she was in one of those videos too. So there's a lot there to mind. But my favorite track here in the album overall, I think I would say it's Girl Like Me. I like the bass in this song a lot. It's like the bass is very house. That's the thing. Like that's what is really different, I think, from the other stuff that she's done. I mean, there's still like that garage production in it, but the bass and like the synths in this one are very, very very housey. I am very, very intrigued by how this album is gonna do. Although I do feel like, I mean, at least online, her supporters are still, like her fans are still very much on it. But I wonder how it's gonna translate to the US, because I think we're starting to move on, move away from the garage music. She already had hits like, The Boy's Liar and all that, which all fall sort of into the same category. So I don't know commercially how it's gonna do, but I think from an artistic point of view is very, very good and very, very, you know needed, I guess, for the summer. It's like it's an essential, I guess, like, album for the summer that you can like just bop to and like have a fun alcoholic or non alcoholic, whatever you want, honestly. Yeah. um Partiful summer, I guess. So, but yeah, I'm gonna add Girl Like Me into my playlist of the month, which is the Overshare Pamphlet Songs of the Week dash Songs of the Week, May 2025. So you can find it there along with the previous episode's songs as well. So yeah, like, just easy to find. You just need to like search it basically on Spotify. Now, other album that came out, as I said, was the Kali Uchis album, and now I have to talk a lot about this one as well, because this, I feel like it's so interesting because they filled to the different positions on the same day, and I think it works pretty well because you can go back and forth between the two albums, or like whether you're feeling more on the chill mood or on the chill side, or you want to be more upbeat. You have two different options here, and I love that for us, I guess, for the consumers, because we are being fed very well. But yeah, so we have Sincerely, who which is like, I think, her fifth studio album, or maybe even the sixth. I don't want to say shit, but definitely not her first rodeo. Kali Uchis' first rodeo. So yeah, this is a very moody album. I would say that is still in the Kali Uchis territory, but it's very much influenced, I guess, by a lot of different genres here. So there's a lot of different. It's still on the low and mellow side. Like, don't get me wrong, that's Kali Uchis' entire, signature as well. On the R&B side, I guess, and like the mellow side. So, but I think there's like more. There's a bit of like a variety of genres that influenced it. Like, for example, tracks like Angel All Around Me. That's a bit more of like jazzy type of production here, and then you have songs like where is it? All I Can Say, which to me personally sounds like a very waltzy 60s or 50s type of track. Very, very good. And then you have, very stringy and orchestral songs like I'll You So Much It Hurts and Heaven Is Home. So I've seen some people compare it to, like, sometimes to Lana Ray Ultraviolence. No, sorry, not Ultraviolence. Yeah, or like maybe actually just in general, like Lana Ray's production. But I think it's not as aggressive, of course. Like, it's definitely more soft and more understated, which I really, really liked about this one. Not to say that Lana Ray doesn't have understated and soft songs. She does completely. Like, if you listen to normal fucking rock, you'll see it there. But I think it's definitely like more of the same tonal mood here throughout the entire album, which makes it in turn, I guess, very cohesive. But yeah, I mean, this is a great, great project. I really recommend actually listening to it front to back with no shuffle, because I think although I think, well, not all the songs are meant to be transitioning one into each other, I think it still does in some type of form, and it's such a good listen, and it just transports you into, again, I always say this about Kali Uchis' songs, but they transport you into a completely different dimension. My favorite songs are All I Can Say and Angels All Around Me. Those are like, well, I also like Daggers and I really like For You Too. I like Sugar. I like a lot of the songs on here, but I think overall the ones that I really come back to a lot are All I Can Say and Angels All Around Me. Those two are just pure bops. Well, not bops, but you know what I mean. So yeah, as I said, All I Can Say is more on the waltzy side. It's so summery. I cannot like describe it. It's very very good. Imagine like a 50s like 60s waltzy slow love song. That's that. Like that's what it is. That's what it is. Um, so I can already picture myself like just by the pool or like by the beach with a little drink in my hand and just you know fantasizing and like reading and just getting tanned. It's just very cute, very very cute vibe. And then Angels Around Me. That to me, whenever I'm not gonna lie, the first time I listened to it, I was like, "This sounds like it could be on a Clear album." Like, I'm not kidding, especially on Charm. I think this fits that vibe, that jazzy R&B vibe of that album, like slightly vintage too, 100%. So yeah, I mean, a lot of um, very light, and very soft production here for the entire album. Like it's very R&B adjacent, slow but like melodic and very well produced. And I think overall her vocals are just so evocative and so like emotional as well. I get lost in her voice and like I actually suggest like listen to this with your headphones on because you need to have the full experience, like production and vocals and everything. Like it needs to be a full immersion, I think. So I cannot recommend this enough. This is really one of my favorite albums as of now of the year. So great, and I think in terms of what it's doing, in terms of numbers and everything, I think it's very much comparable to what PinkPantheress' album is doing. So that's very interesting. I think they're finding their own footing in that sense, and they're like sharing the same space, which is good because they're counter programming, I guess. So that's a slate. We all win at the end of the day, so that's great. Yeah, so that's that. Now on to the actual real songs of the week. These are some very short, like quick mini reviews of the albums because they both came out at the same time, but I do have more to share. Now, first one I want to talk about is Denim by Kali Uchis. Now, I don't know anything about this artist. I'm so sorry to this woman. I mean, I've then after listening to the song, I found out that she was on Disney Descendants 4 or 5, whatever. I don't know. I don't watch those, but this song came out of nowhere. I think I don't know how I found it. I can't remember, but as soon as I heard it, I was like, "Oh, this sounds like an early 2000s song, like a Britney song, or like a Timbaland type of song, and it is so catchy, especially the hook. Hands on me when I feel my denim. It's a bad that I might just let him. Got him sprung by the way I fit him. That's so good. So yeah, and I also noticed that she collabs with some like K-pop K-pop idols as well. So I don't know exactly what's her story. I need to like look into that specifically to see if like she has any previous production credits on other K-pop idols songs or whatever. But this song, girl, incredible. It's very sexy. It's like about hooking up with this guy or whatever, and like he cannot take his hands as like he's very attracted to you by the way your denim fits you, basically, right? That's the whole point of the song. Lips on mine against your car, and the lights are passing us just like we are or whatever. To put it in park, let's stay right where we are. Hands on me when I feel my denim. Period. But this song is so good, very very good. It's also in my summertime playlist because it's like very very cunty, I think. Very cunty, but like, it can very much work. So yes. Loved it. Loved it, babes. Next one. This is an old song. I think it's like from 2007 or 2006 or something. Brooke Hogan, who is like, I don't know. To me, the first time I heard one of her songs, which was probably like Strip, I thought she was a Britney impersonator or like something, because also the her Redemption album, the cover art, that looks like a I don't know, like a Britney fan art or something. I just don't know, but this About Us is a very 2000 like produced track, like hip hoppy almost. Like it sounds like early 2000 hip hop to me. I don't know. You just gotta have to listen to it. Like um, it sounds like, I can't remember what's the name of that artist, but oh, I wish I could remember. But it does sound like very 2000. That's what I'm saying. It's something that you could definitely bop to. The production is very hip hop. It sounds a bit like Destiny's Child as well. I think that type of sound. That's what it kind of reminds me of. So it's a blast from the past. I mean, I didn't know this song at all until I came across it, and it is so catchy, so danceable. So just give it a go. Give my girl Brooke Hogan her flowers. Although she only has 5,000 streams on this song. Sorry, 5 million. 5 million, yeah. 5 million streams on this song. And she has 84,000 monthly listeners. So that's that. But very interesting stuff. I really liked it. I really actually replayed it a lot. So slay to her. Then I'm trying to be very, very, very picky here because I have so many that I liked, but I don't want to put them all into the playlist. I have to put, you know what? Let me close with these two. Drop Top and Lit Right Now by Meow. Now these are two K-pop tracks, so y'all are gonna have to like bear with me because these are so important to me for whatever reason. I was looking forward to this like EP. This is their first EP by Meow, who debuted this year, I think, or actually the end of last year. Can't really remember. Yeah, probably December or something like that. Either way, they've been around for like a short time, and all the songs they've released plus these two new songs have just come out. They came out, I think, this Monday, so yesterday. And I'm glad I waited for this episode, actually. They all worked out pretty well. I mean, I could have included the next episode, but I've just been obsessed with Drop Top specifically, but also Lit Right Now is incredible. So let me just go over the two songs. Drop Top is I would say like a high teen. It reminds me a lot, to be fair, of 21 Pilots in terms of production. It's borderline like punk, but there's no exact like electric guitar in it, or like there is a bit, but it's more like synth. So yeah, but it's very, 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 very good. And it's about like being free and like being young and being like having being with your friends and like not caring what other people think, and doing things in the name of love and like finding your spark and all that stuff. Like it's a very inspiring song, but very summery, I would say. Very just like has a bit of a nostalgic vibe to it, which is just incredible. I just cannot I cannot stop listening to it, especially the chorus is just so good. I think the verses are a little bit on the softer, like vibey sound. The way the song starts reminds me of Revolving Door by Take Back Ray for whatever reason, and it sort of the verses have that vibe as well, in terms of production. But then when it gets to the chorus, it's very like loud and inspiring, and very, very good. So I definitely recommend listening to that one because it's my favorite song as of now. Like it's just overall among all these songs that I talked about, that's the best one, and it's just so good. I just cannot. I cannot stop replaying it, but also I think the video is very cute. It's not entirely like a high budget music video, but it still does the job. It communicates the emotions, I guess, and the old girls look Gorgina George, Gorgina George. So, yeah, just incredible. Drop top, drop top, feel the raindrop. You know, so good. I need to listen to this. As soon as I'm done with this, best believe I'll be replaying the shit out of this song. So yeah. And then lit right now is, I'm sure you like, you know, I've talked about like Meow before actually. Yeah, because I must have included all these songs, like the other songs like Meow, Body, Toxic, all the other songs in the previous playlists that I've made. But this is a collection of all the songs I've released plus these new two tracks which are dropped up in lit right now. But lit right now is like, as soon as I heard it, I was like, this reminds me of Haim, like the sisters, you know, Haim the band, because it has that, you know, um, a bit like Gasoline by Haim reminds me of that for whatever reason. So it's that sort of like, you know, indie band vibe. Um, you know, bass the instrument. Um, very very cool, and subject matter is like a bit more like don't mess my fun, you know, don't mess my vibe, like I'm lit right now, don't you know, bring me down or all that stuff. So more, I think what really captures my attention about the song is like the way they do the ad libs and the vocal delivery here, especially in the verses. Very very cool. So yeah, like check it out, man, check it out, check it out, check it out. And with that, I think I can like wrap up the songs of the week as well. I could add more, I could, but will I? I don't think I will. I don't think I will because there's like so much. Actually, you know what? Let me just add this other one. Not Your Girlfriend by Zoe Coe. That is sneaky insertion because I didn't plan on inserting this, but it's very interesting. It's a very interesting song. It's a very sarcastic song, I think, but like, or like caricaturesque, I guess, like type of song. I'm not your girlfriend and all that stuff, you know, like that's the you can tell from the you know, like you want me so bad, but I'm not your girlfriend and all that shit. You know, that's the topic of the song itself. But I think the genre is sort of punk rock, but not like, you know, banging your head necessarily, but more like I'm cool and like I'm you know, um it's a bit snarky and it's a bit, you know, cunty. So very good, very good, very good song. So I'm just gonna introduce, like, I'm just gonna like leave it there, and I'm gonna like pretend like you guys didn't hear me, and that's it for the week. See you next week. Hopefully, I can manage to like record because my birthday is this weekend. So I will definitely be busy, but I'll try my best to put, you know, to carve out some time to like record an episode. So don't be mad at me. Sorry, but love you.